What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about The Batman. So The Batman is finally here in theaters, directed by Matt Reeves, and when I heard he was going to be directing this film, I was ecstatic. I love what he did with the final two installments in the latest Planet of the Apes trilogy, and as a director, I just know that he has a really great vision for how a film should look and feel. I knew that the tone was going to be really grounded and that the look was going to be really dark and menacing, and I'm very happy to say that I think that Matt Reeves nailed it when it came to the direction of this film. And outside of fantastic talent like Matt Reeves, you have the talent on screen with Robert Pattinson, Zoë Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, and so many others. This film is loaded with great performers from beginning to end, and everybody came to play. When you're watching this movie, you can tell that everybody was excited to be a part of this project. They were excited to be a part of this movie and bring a new life to Batman and these characters. I've always kind of compared Batman to Spider-Man in the sense that for the DCEU, he is this character similar to Spider-Man who has this huge rogue gallery of villains and just a whole gallery of really recognizable and memorable characters overall. And he's this one singular hero that just has all these really iconic villains around him and this one specific iconic location. In the case of Spider-Man, it's New York, and then in the case of Batman, it's Gotham. And you know, there may be other characters that have great villains and great powers and great things that are going on, but I always find that Spider-Man and Batman have some of the most recognizable villains, whereas, you know, a lot of the mainstream other characters don't always have a bunch of villains that pop to your mind immediately. What I really loved about this movie is they utilized all those things that make Batman what he is, how cool Batman is, Gotham and all that jazz. They use it to the fullest potential here, and this is a movie that's definitely a love letter to Batman fans, but it's also a movie that's trying to do something very different with Batman. What I love about this film is that it's pretty much the very first detective noir Batman story, at least in live action. We've gotten some of the animated stuff that's leaned into that, and of course there are detective elements about every single Batman movie or films that, you know, feature Batman in it. But as far as an actual detective movie first, that's what this movie is. This is a mystery detective noir film that just so happens to be in Gotham with Batman at the center of it, and I'm very happy to also say that Robert Pattinson killed it in this role. And you know, I wasn't part of the discussion of people who were totally against the idea of him being Batman, because for me, I've seen him in so many things since Twilight. Everybody was kind of, you know, ragging on him for the Twilight thing, and he's just done so many other great films and given so many better performances since then that he's grown so much as an actor that I just knew he was gonna nail it. And when I found out that Matt Reeves was directing, like I mentioned, I was absolutely thrilled. And then you have this other star-studded cast throughout the rest of the movie, and it just all comes together to really make a strong cast. So when it comes to the performances in this film overall, I thought they were really, really strong. I really thoroughly enjoyed that element of the film. The direction, the technical elements, it's big but also small in a lot of ways. It's very centered on what's going on, and the mystery never really loses itself in becoming a huge over-the-top comic book movie. It does feel grounded, it feels realistic, it feels tangible, and it's definitely the darkest, grittiest, and most violent of the Batman films that we've had. There's just definitely something about it that makes you feel like you're in Gotham, that grimy, nasty feel, that look to Gotham that's just kind of yucky. Yeah, I really feel like Matt Reeves nailed it with this movie. I really thoroughly enjoyed his overall vision on the film. I felt that, again, the performances were strong, the writing was strong, the fact that they really made it a detective story is ultimately what really made me the most intrigued while watching it. It gives it its own identity. It feels very different from all of the Batman films that have come before, and you know, I'm struggling to see where it is in my ranking right now, to be completely honest, but it's definitely up there within my top 3 right now. Overall, I found this film to be really stunning to watch. It's almost 3 hours long, just 10 minutes short of being 3 hours, and I can happily say that it does not feel like 3 hours. The runtime breezed by. There's a couple of moments that the movie slows down just a little bit. There is a little bit of fat that I probably would have cut off, and there's a couple of things that even in this 3 hour runtime I would have liked to have seen expanded upon. But overall, I found that the pacing was really strong. I felt that the mystery was nice and interesting throughout. It never really feels like they revealed too much or too little, and it's just an engaging, really well done story. And when it comes to Robert Pattinson as Batman, it's going to be one of the most criticized and talked about things about the whole movie, of course. And yeah, without a doubt, I thought he gave a really great performance. This movie is far more a Batman film than a film that features Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is in this film, but what I think is really interesting about this iteration of Batman, and they do kind of make note about that in the movie, is that you have this iteration being far more of a Batman Bruce Wayne. This guy is completely Batman. He's not really caring about being, you know, the Bruce Wayne personality that we've typically seen in a lot of iterations, where he's kind of trying to keep up the performance of being Bruce Wayne. In this iteration of Batman, he is Batman through and through, even when he's not wearing the mask, and you can see that in him. You can see that tortured soul, and I think that Robert Pattinson played that really well. I thought there's a lot of nuance to his performance and the way that he came across things as Bruce Wayne, and the difference when he would kind of get darker and darker as he is Batman over the course of the film. When he's in that cowl, you can just tell that he feels at his most comfortable, and there are moments where it feels like when he doesn't have the mask on, that he still kind of feels like he has the mask on, because he just really genuinely feels like he's Batman throughout. This film also stars Andy Serkis as Alfred. I thought he was great in the film. I really thoroughly enjoyed him. You also have Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and I thought he was fantastic. That makeup made him pretty much unrecognizable. If I did not know that it was him in that role, I probably would never have guessed that it was him, but being able to see his performance within that makeup I thought was fantastic, and he gave a really solid and believable performance. And overall, the performances from beginning to end were phenomenal. Zoë Kravitz was fantastic as Selina Kyle, Catwoman. I really thoroughly enjoyed the chemistry between her and Robert Pattinson throughout the course of the film. I thought they had a really great bond throughout the course of the film. There is an element to their chemistry and their characters' chemistry that I felt could have been expanded upon a little bit more. Maybe there were some elements that felt a little rushed at times, but ultimately I really enjoyed seeing them together on screen, and I thought it was a lot better than what they did with Anne Hathaway as Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises. Alright guys, so I have to add this in here really quickly because I'm a dumbass, and while I was filming, totally forgot to mention Paul Dano as a Riddler. When I heard he was cast in the movie, I just knew, because of the kind of artsy actor that he is, that he was going to give a phenomenal performance, and something that was really weird, something that's very different, eclectic, and that's definitely what he gave us here. So yeah, I just wanted to add this in really quickly because how can I not talk about the villain of the film? I thought he was great in the movie. I really thoroughly enjoyed him, and I really loved the different kind of approach. You know, when you think about the Riddler from video games, comics, and cartoons, and Jim Carrey's version back in the day versus this one, it's night and day. It's so different, and I really thoroughly enjoy the different approach that they took with this character, and the very dark approach that, you know, I'm sure they'll probably play off of in comics, and maybe this will kind of create more creepy iterations of the character. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Paul Dano moving forward as the Riddler, but yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed him in the role. So yeah, I don't want to get into any spoilers, but overall this was a great time. I think if you're a Batman fan, if you're a comic book movie fan, if you're a fan of detective movies, if you're a fan of action movies, this movie has it all and more. I really thoroughly enjoyed the filmmaking element of this film. There is something about this one that very much stands apart from all the other Batman films. This is definitely a film that has its own identity within the Batman mythology. I really look forward to hopefully seeing more films within this universe. The movie does not have a post-credit scene, but I think it really works for what this film is trying to do. It has a story from beginning, middle, and end. There is some sort of setup for the idea that we will get more in the future, but it doesn't necessarily need it, and I think they did a great job with rounding out this story as it is. I thought Robert Pattinson did a fantastic job, and in my opinion, I think that this performance shuts down any of the haters who had anything to say about him. I felt that the action, the look, the feel, the grimy feel and look of everything just really amplified the experience. I think Matt Reeves had a really great vision for what this was all going to be about. I think that Matt Reeves really knew what he wanted to do with a Batman movie, and I'm glad that he was able to make a movie like this. I'm glad that they gave a director like Matt Reeves a Batman film. So I'm going to stop rambling now, but a big thanks to you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this film as much as I did. If you did, let me know down below. If you didn't, also let me know down below and why you didn't like this movie. But I do really think this is a movie that's going to work for most fans. I think you're going to go and have a good time at the theater. The theater that I was watching it with seemed to be really into it as well. Got the applause at the end and all that jazz. A couple of claps throughout. But yeah, there's definitely some epic Batman moments in this movie. And I think without a doubt, this is definitely one of the best Batman movies that's ever come out. So a big thanks to you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.